later on. So apologies for that. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, Mark, and catch them. If I need to catch you afterwards, I will do. So without further ado, reach out. What is it? Why do we do it? Students told us that they had a hell of a job finding support, but when they found support, it was good. But that's not a great experience. There's very much a lot of, sorry, it's not us who provide this service or can help you with this. Go and see the people up the hill. There's a lot of, pointing. And again, the students say, when I got to the right person, they were very helpful, sorted it all out for me. But, there's a lot of getting passed from pillar to post, which you can see,
Hello, you all right?
Not a great experience.
Good.
Could you please go on mute when you join the call? Thanks very much.
So, what do we do about that? So we had a number of teams, not all in the same directorates, not all reporting to the same areas. Very much, not so much a common thread between them, other than they're front-facing. They provided support. So our IT help desk, our library customer services, our student services inquiry teams, all say front-facing, but with a different focus at the time. So we took the view, a student doesn't need to know how our organisation is structured, or shouldn't need to know how our organisation is structured to get support, to know who provides a service, to know which services were available to them. So bringing together, we had actually, you wouldn't be surprised in a university, to come up with the name Reach Out. Went through about 6 months of polls and committees, and as I said to folk a week ago, thankfully, Helping McHelpface didn't win the competition, but the name Reach Out did. So that's what we're called, and it sums up what we're trying to do. Bringing teams together under one identity. In a number of locations, but with one focus, and so that's to give students information, help, whatever, and not to signpost them. Not to say at times we are. This is a generalist model, and at times people will need specialist help. So in order to do that, you are going to have to functionally or hierarchically escalate. And that comes on to the next. We took the view, if we're all using the same platform, that makes that life easier. And it's not to say you can't do it without a shared platform, but it definitely makes the escalation path a lot easier. And what we agreed was to take on a baseline of knowledge in each other's services. So rather than say, you turn up at the library customer services looking to get Wi-Fi set up on your phone, and they say, well, don't know, go and see those IT people. And if you turned up at the student services team asking a similar question or something about the library, they'll just point you to the library. So we have a common platform, we have a common knowledge base. We agreed a baseline of knowledge in each other's services, that we would answer comfortably and confidently, but also at the same time, know when to stop digging the hole and say escalate to the appropriate team. But this allowed us, certainly having the knowledge of other people's services, we were able to, in most cases, either point the student directly to the knowledge themselves or give them that knowledge, and help them sort things out quicker, less escalation, etc. And this model has grown. It started out in one area. We're now building this into the operating model for basically most of our new teaching buildings. Will have a reach out element to them. They will have branded people wearing t-shirts. We don't brand our people. so they will be recognisable, approachable, visible, and that becomes a part of the way the building works. And then there's a change from the traditional facility staff who would have done a lot of the meeting and greeting and pointing people where they needed to go. But this now into the reach out side of things. So, what is it? It's a brand, it's a service, it's an operating model. We want to make it, visible, recognisable, and there's a structure to it. It's not just a, because I say we don't all report to the same people. We're in some cases in different directorates, but we come together under this umbrella to provide this service that works and crosses these somewhat artificial boundaries, but there are boundaries there. But it's been working very well for the past few years, and say the fact that it now is that it gets baked into the operating model for any new buildings, would say that it has been a great success. So just, you see we have the T-shirts, obviously students are wearing them, they can be seen wherever they are. We also provide, there's a lot of, and just to say about where we provide as a human service, but also where it is augmented by the tech. So the idea being, we have mainly students. There are core staff in the model as well, but predominantly students who we employ as staff, and this runs 8 in the morning till 8 at night, and that's 7 days a week. Is in these buildings. But we're also online in that thing. There are back office staff who can take chat or answer questions wherever, and then obviously it moves into the out of hours where the tech takes over, and hopefully people get answers to what they're looking for, and if they don't, they can escalate that to, well, it gets logged in through the service management platform as anything else would, and then we'll get followed up as and when a member of staff is available. But I definitely, also there'll be people on here who are not in the HE sector. But for people in the HE sector, it was like your size a couple of weeks ago, there was a pattern emerging in that, do make use of employing students, and don't see this not as a cheap form of labour at all. That's definitely very far from what we're doing. But it's a brilliant resource, and it's brilliant for the students themselves. Getting the work experience, the life experience. It's very much a win-win for all. And remember, pay them well. So, what does Reach Out do? And I will get to the AI bit. Don't worry. Again, we provide roaming support within these buildings. We have a lot of sort of pop-up signs with QR codes on them. Same within on the printing stations, on the lecterns, in the teaching spaces, that somebody scans that, hits submit on it, that goes into the service management platform, pings a Teams channel to get somebody within the building to come running, and also obviously logs that into the service management platform as well. And the important thing is get somebody there quickly, especially where it's a teaching space and a lecture or whatever is about to start. So we need people there quick, but it's the integration into service management platform, etc. And as an extension of that, we've taken the model of a student tech bar, as it says, a service for questions provided by students, and that fits with our model of, and it is, to be fair, it's the only way we can really provide this service is a sort of jigsaw rota of we've got sort of 15 to 20 students who may do postgrads who've maybe got more time on their hands than not, and then jump from lecture to lecture, and then undergrads maybe do a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there, but it all fits together and it works. So that's the model that we provide, and that moving into what it does for us on a shift left agenda, if I put it that way, something I'm very back, something that we've tried to take this out of IT. So you've got your people in OD, you've got student service, other people getting their head around what the shift like. What is the concept of shift left? Because it works just as well in these other lines of business as it does within IT. And it's say how can we get folk to, if they want to help themselves and they can help themselves, let them do it. If we can automate a process to the fulfillment of something rather than just getting better at logging it, let's do that. And that takes me into starting to look at the tech that's underpinning it. So where possible, one portal for people to go to. Again, go back to the thought that they don't need to know how your organisation is structured to be able to consume a service, to get support, etc. So one place for them to go, one system where possible to for you to be building up those resources, your service offerings, your request offerings, hopefully targeted to to audiences, so folk aren't wading through 300 potential offerings that many of which have got no relevance to them. So we do a lot of screening by these are only available for postgraduate research students. These are only available for postgraduate research students in college X. Through to this could be for all students. This is only for staff, whatever. But where possible, say screen so that people aren't wading through a lot of offerings that have got nothing to do with them. But into the body of knowledge now, and where this is going AI wise, we for quite a while we took the view, we have knowledge capacity within our service management platform. Let's use it. We also had thousands of web pages that people put stuff on. How can we get away from this duplication? And you're never going to win the argument if you're asking people to, can you come and you put your knowledge in the service management platform so that we can use it through self-service, so that analyst users can use it too. But I've already got it on the website. I'm not going to do it twice, and I can't win that argument. You can't ask somebody to maintain content in two different places. It's not on. But could you create it and curate it in the platform, but then can we surface it on the web through the API? So that's what we've been doing quite successfully for a while. And it works. We're able to display it to the outside world. It's created in one place. It's maintained in one place. It has the knowledge management and regulation or control that we have within the platform. It has an owner. It has a shelf life. There is a process for maintaining it, so that the information doesn't get stale, out of date, etc., which was so important anyway. But once you start moving towards the AI side of things, doubly so. But last, let's talk about AI. So robot, the reach out bot, losing the name. That started out as I coined the phrase as a joke at the start, but it just stuck. It made sense. People know what reach out is. It works. So we moved to a bot just to augment what we were doing. But at the start, this was the same bot. There was no AI in it. This was just purely straight SQL searches. You asked a question, just as you type that into the search function within the self management platform or any other search box, and the answers were, more often than not, it was you got something, it retrieved the whole knowledge article, which in some cases they were a bit wordy because they've been originally written more for the web, if I can put it that way, rather than to be consumed in the context of a bot. And that, it worked, but it needed to be a lot better. You've got the when does the library close? When does the library open to me? When does the library shut? All of these kind of things. When can I stay in the library until there's nuances in the language that straight SQL is never going to handle. So moving more into the AI side of things through a couple of iterations there, but say now is really delivering the way that the data has been chunked. I think that's the technical term. It makes it much easier to retrieve it. People get better responses. But it's not just, we do provide, a bypass here. If somebody doesn't want to talk to the bot, they can just say, I want to speak to somebody, get me a human, whatever, and it will bypass asking them any more questions and take them to more of a help us, what's that skill you're looking for here? And it will then go off and try and find a body with that skill. Very important in an HE context is mental health side of things. What we didn't, and absolutely, I'd hate that someone is seeking, this kind of help through a bot, but it has happened. It will continue to happen. But what you don't want there is the bot coming up with some nonsense or just coming back with an inappropriate response here. So we worked with our safeguarding mental health team, and just sort of like, this is your message. You tell us what you wanted to say. Which resources. So this is it. There will be no deviation from this. This is the message, and that the AI copes very well. But within expanding, we're trialing at the moment the law bot, and it again it's in context, and this is one of the things, and I'll say at the end of this in a takeaway, we took the view one bot is not going to do it for all now. Okay, you could have one bot that then is orchestrating, and put it that way, is plumbed into a number of other bots, but that's my view anyway. Others on this call may take a different tack on it, but I think in terms of having a bot that does is there for a particular purpose rather than something that's just trying to please everyone and in the end will please no one, because you're diluting the body of knowledge and just the skill itself. So that's where we decided to go, and that's working well. We're looking at Reggie, another just cheeky name for it, but we're coming into the registration enrollment phase of our annual cycle. And, this is another, will be for a specialist purpose. And that's, that would be that is my advice to folk is, have a bot for a purpose. Moving into the wee bit more of the AI side of things. So pros and cons of your data sources, you really have to, the data needs to be good. That won't come as a surprise to people. Now, we have two main sources. Our knowledge base, we've spent a lot of time creating over 1,000 knowledge articles. And obviously we have a very rich stream of data on our website as well. So that's the way to go for us. Knowledge base, pros, existing curated resource. We've spent a lot, we created these articles because people asked us these questions. These are the right answers to those questions. Again, we can surface that knowledge in multiple places, multiple systems, in context, with what people are doing at the time. Cons, say we've got 1,000 or thereabouts, but it's a finite number, and they're there for a purpose. If what people are looking for is outside of that, and it's not in the knowledge base, then you ain't going to find it. But into the scrape, it brings, again, you've spent time getting all this information on your website. Excellent. When the bot picks it up, it's got a citable source, so it can take them back to that URL to give them more, or just to reinforce their confidence in the answer that they got. So using retrieval augmented generation, to chunk up all of this information into bite-sized pieces that the AI can find. But the problem there is, the web is too big. You need to pick, where you want your source to be, and again, put these levels down. And I think hopefully this describes this a wee bit better. We pointed it at, schools, gla.ac.uk/schools/law. Now, at that level, it's very broad. You get a lot of headlines, but not a lot of depth of content. You take it down a level now, it's all, this goes on exponentially. You've got a page that's got 50 links in it, and then each one of those pages has got 50 links to pages that have got 50, you end up with a mountain of data, and some of it is, is conflicting, some of it is just, it's irrelevant. So that's the problem that you're going to face there. So know your data, I think, is really what I'd be saying there, that you need to, you may need to come down a level, start down a level in certain cases. We had to say schools, but then we had under postgraduate. So it was the case, well, there's no point in starting up here. We start down a level and then pare away at that, because you have, there will be noise in amongst it. And very quickly, and I'm conscious of time, this then robot feeds into Teams as well, that we can surface content through Teams. People can get to it via Teams, and also we provide chat via Teams, and the cards are getting better by the day, and what you can produce, and so your adaptive cards can be quite informative and and helpful. So just building additional little flows there, and just this is a very high overview of student asks the question, they get an answer, yes, happy days. We get the MI that they asked the question, here's the answer they got, and they said that they were happy. If not, let's check for staff. Do we have somebody to answer this? Yes, we do. Okay. Can they answer it? Fine. If not, it'll just, and obviously if it's 2 a.m, it will offer to log it into the service management platform and so on. But I won't labour that some more shift left there. Um, giving our desk access to be able to do stuff that traditionally they had to kick down the line to third line. But again, if please try and use your service management platform to, if it puts an air gap between the people doing things and where they've been executed, it allows them to do it safely. Please give that a try, because the desk want to help people. The last thing they want to do is just be log and flog, and a lot of the things that they log and flog to third line and whatever are not high priority for third line. So if you can put the tools with your desk to let them do it, please do. And that's, each time you do that, you're saving time. I would say you've been efficient with money, certainly making a saving of time. And these all add up. You can see there with those, it's 120k savings there. If I look at other things that are able to be automated, 236k savings on them. And just last, a very, very quick, just to say, also, using our student help together with the bot side of things, we've been able to build an amazing support force, I would say, to support exams, and brings us an excellent wealth of insight into what happens, how, when things happen, which students are affected, etc., and how can we be better to help with that. So, quick takeaways. It's not all about the tech. The people, the tech is here to enable the people, and don't get, please don't lose sight of that. You have to be on top of your knowledge. You have to own it. It's not just for Christmas. It's not a write it once, forget about it. A knowledge base will never be done. As I've found, you can't scrape the internet and expect decent results, because you end up, you have to know where to corral all of these, but, use bots as SMEs rather than, the bot trying to do everything. And that's me, Mark.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, Mark. Superb introduction, as always. Just to say, Mark is joining us on the road from a bedroom in Loughborough, so he won't be here for the remainder of the event. I don't see any questions in the chat at the moment, but if you have any quick ones, you'll need to grab him now, as he'll be making a quick exit. But thanks very much indeed for that, Mark, and thank you. I know it's a busy day for you, so thank you for joining us to do that.
Mark Temple, can you hear me there?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I suddenly had all my connections all wrong, so apologies, Mark Lillycroft. I just had a really quick question for Mark before he dived off, if you had a chance. Firstly, hello.
Hello. Long time no speak, Claire.
It is. I'm just actually writing you an email in the background. I've got some colleagues on. I'm going, we need to talk to Mark. What's the one thing you would do differently?
Oh, I would do more than one thing differently, I think. No, I think that knowing your sources, the data is the most important thing here, I think is, and that's where we kind of went wrong, and we ingested too much data. We I say we tried to boil the ocean. We thought that, when I was saying I'll take responsibility. I thought that this AI thing will just do everything. We can have a bot. It can answer any question, and I very quickly came to the view that I don't think this is the way to go. I think we want to, we have specialists. We just like we have specialized people. Have a bot for a purpose. Know what you're doing. fortunately, I would say we've been doing this for all the right reasons, and those reasons are just to try and provide a better service rather than we're forced to do it because of financial constraints or whatever. But also at the same time, all of this doesn't come for free. So the reality is that there's a cost in the technology. There's a cost in people's time to keep it relevant, and that is again that is something I think we got right at the start, was that the knowledge needs an owner, and with a website full of outdated content that somebody can fire and forget. So that kind of answered your question.
No, it did. And it's quite
Okay.
interesting to say that you thought you had too much data rather than too little data, because actually you can get into that state of overwhelm when you almost don't know what to do. So, don't eat the elephant, isn't it? And there's certainly some lessons there I think we'll be listening to. And as I say, Mark, we'll reach out to you for a wider conversation as well, if that's okay.
No pun intended again.
Lovely. Nice to see you again, Mark. Thank you.
Cheers, Claire.
Brilliant. Thank you, Claire. And thanks once again, Mark.